Hi all, this is Maro. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to my channel. So I got me a Bagration and Okachev, the Russian new Tier 8 premium cruisers, as part of the Russian, token and missions. And also, as part of my 2-year anniversary, I got the special 30% coupon, and I was thinking to myself, well, what better way to take advantage of that 30% coupon after playing World of Warships for 2 years than to spend it as soon as I can, or use it as soon as I can. Initially, I was thinking just maybe getting one of the Russian cruisers and then using the 30% coupon. I think the cheapest version is like $45, so you probably could get it for $30. And there are some missions in the Russian cruisers that you can use one of the premium ships. So I thought maybe that's not a bad idea to get more of these Russian tokens and, get some of the permanent camos that are available. The grind through the line, early, it's not really something that I am too concerned about, but it's a side benefit. But then, I thought a little more and more, and the loot boxes that I've gotten so far for the Soviet tokens have been very sparing in terms of tokens, 5, 10, 15. There was one that was more, but other than that, lots of boxes, but not a lot of tokens. So in order to maximize my coupon, I decided to get basically 25,000 doubloons, and I went and got both ships for doubloons, and then there was still some left, and I figured I'll play both of them, get the extra XP, I think it's double XP, in addition to whatever you do, and some flags, and use the free XP from that for the tier 10 once it's released and Moscow's gone, and play the Russian premium cruisers. So last night I got Bagration, and I didn't really play it until today. And earlier today I started playing, and when I played Chapayev, it was really a good experience, and I thought it'd be fun to play this one as well. But in playing it, honestly, it felt a little more like Donskoy than it did like as Chapayev. It just felt a little bigger, a little slower, a little clumsier, right? 9 guns, shooting. So I try to play it from the distance and spamming HE. And, some of the games were not so bad, but lost every single one. So I think I played 7 or 8 games, and all of them were losses, one after another. And, one can only take so much punishment before before one needs to stop. So I did, and I switched to the other cruiser. And it was a great game. It was a lot more fun ship for me to play. It was nimbler, it was faster, it was easier to turn. Okay, maybe the range was shorter, 15.6 I think kilometers, and it was only 8 guns. So maybe you lack some of the firepower. But low concealment and radar, and I don't know. I enjoyed it a lot more. So that game was a loss, but the play style was a lot more fun. So tremendously enjoyed it. Anyway, so after that loss, took a little break and then decided, okay, well, you know what, I'm gonna play one more with Bagration and see how things turn, and I did, and this is the game. And of course, it's epicenter map, and I really don't like the epicenter map at all, so not a big plus. And I just decided to, I guess, do what I've been doing, and not so successful. Play it on the sides and try to focus battleships and with HE, and use the long range to my advantage. And most of the team, I think, started moving east. Really decided to kind of hang on this side and not leave, especially if the 2 battleships were coming, because the kiting position when the 2 battleships are coming is perfect for this kind of ship. And you may suffer some of the damage, but overall it's fine. It's you have a heal, have 4 heals, I think, so it's enough life to actually be able to withstand some of that. And of course hoping that it's not so easy for them to hit you. Now anytime of course you get hit, it's, well, you feel it, right? It's either a citadel or it takes a big chunk of your life. But still, I think it was worth it, and I think these BBs didn't really decide to hang around for long, which is the right decision. Obviously, chasing a kiting cruiser that's spamming HE from 16, 17, 18 kilometers, it's not going to do anything. A, you don't do anything for the team, and B, you just kind of, in the end, you're going to suffer so much damage that does you no good. So once they've decided to, leave, I wanted to go back and get a little closer to the epicenter on that flank. Now, not to, say I'm a great player or anything, but this cruiser was able to stop this quasi push from these two battleships and turn them back. Now, obviously, we don't really have a lot of ships on this flank to be able to take advantage of that, but there was no reason to give them that side of the board, and they decided not to push, so got to keep it, at least keep the fight even. So going back to the epicenter, I think the DDs were still there, trying to get a little closer to them, see if I can lend some support. Initially, when I started playing Bagration, for whatever reason, I thought that it had a radar. So I guess the first game, because I was playing it from distance, I didn't even have a chance to use the radar. So I was like, okay. And then the second game, I thought, well, look at this. I don't see radar. I must have maybe selected a different consumable. In the end, it turned out no, there is no radar for Bagration. So you are somewhat exposed, and I guess that's why you get the heal that Chapayev doesn't. But without the radar, even with a good concealment, and I think this may be concealment built, it's around 11 kilometers. Still, without radar, you don't really have any eyes, and you always need somebody in front. Otherwise, you're just exposed. So not the best position, and I think that's probably why I like the Okachev better. It's a 10k radar, but 9k I think concealment. So certainly makes a big difference, and makes destroyers be a little concerned when they run into you, which this ship doesn't have. And that's different, I think, with Chapayev also. Obviously, you have the radar, and it was just around the concealment range. Then with Donskoy, the same thing. And it just gives you that, I don't know, additional kind of card that you can play that the ship does not have. And I think it's a little poorer for it. So here we had the Seattle. So I ran into Seattle, and I kind of decided to just go around the island and kind of kite a little bit, switch to the AP, see if I can do any damage. I mean, he's somewhat angled towards me, but I didn't want to stay too close to him. Seattle DPM should definitely be higher than what Bagration can do. I think my rate of fire is every 11 seconds. So I think when it comes to just the HE spam, I think Seattle could absolutely overwhelm me at shorter ranges. So I decided to extend the range a little bit, give myself a little more breathing room. And I think also the rune is coming up. So the two of us will start to engage this Seattle, and Seattle will have to really pull back and shift. In the meantime, the game is pretty close. I think we had most of the caps, but things were just going back and forth. 3 ships versus 3 ships lost, so very close. It's a very slow game, which you don't really get too many of those. Recently, my experience has been really, a stomp, like the game is over in 8 or 9 or 10 minutes. Sometimes you barely have any time to do anything before it's time. So having a long game where, I think everybody's trying to to live, which is a rarity in this game. It's almost feels sometimes it's a race to see who can die faster. So having teammates and I guess the opposing team who want to live, it makes for an more interesting game in this case. So I'm still haven't really left my position a lot from where I started. I kind of been there, just on the northern edge tip and circling. And other than the action that happened in the middle, on this end, it's been mostly trying to support the DDs a little bit, stopping the 2BB push, and now kind of displacing the Seattle further back. So I think here I just decided to, well, let's get a little closer. Let's see. It doesn't seem that there is any present danger in terms of the ships other than Seattle. Everybody else is further back. So it's a good opportunity to try to slightly reposition and get a little closer to the action. Bagration's reach of, I think, what is it, 18.6, I think, kilometers. It's really long, and it's, the velocity, the high velocity of Russian guns, it allows you to be able to extend your hand and touch the enemy battleships across the battlefield. Smaller targets, obviously, you can, but if they're actively dodging it, it gets to be much harder because they don't require as much time to be able to shift or move. Hence, your shells still need to travel, even if they're Russian. Down the battlefield, so it takes some time. So the Georgia, I see Georgia down there, and my concern with Georgia was initially really that Georgia's going to just use its speed and maybe turn towards us. In addition, there were 2 additional battleships there, and I think I was just pretty blessed with RNG this game. I was able to start quite a few fires. Especially, I think, on this Lion. I think it was just one after another, which was surprising. Now, I think her heal is still substantial. So, just the HE, the fire damage, not sure how much it does in the long run. But nevertheless, it was an opportunity for a good target. And I took it on. I think... in the previous build, when I decided to grind through the Russian line and get to Moskva, I used the IFHE. I don't have it on this ship right now. I only have the additional fire CE, I believe. And I'm not really sure if that is a good choice or not. Because yes, you get a chance to start fires, and I've been starting a lot of fires, but when it comes to doing the actual damage to some of these battleships, unless you hit the superstructure, it's really not. You tend not to do a lot of HE damage, and I feel like that's maybe missing because these guns, the shells would be pretty powerful, but I think they're 180 millimeters, 1.6, so that's 30 millimeter penetration. I think maybe having that IFHE, even if it lowered the fire chance, would be an advantage to have. So I've been a little, I guess, hesitant to respec my captain again. Especially, I'm using the same captain. It's the premium captain, the Russian captain with the last stand. So I've been using it for the light cruiser as well, right, Ochakov, and this one, and I'm kind of hesitant to change it just for this ship because even if this ship would benefit by having the IFHE, then I'm not sure the light cruiser version would. So I guess I'm still on the fence. It's something I'll have to think through. So here it kind of went, right? We were looking pretty good, and it just seemed that our ships, as usual, started dying. So the game is still progressing slowly, so it's 7 versus 5, I think, in terms of deaths. But nevertheless, the point lead is starting to build, and I think most of our team that went on the eastern flank around was unable to really push through. So for me here it was really okay. Well, that battleship is pushing, so if I can get myself in a position to start some fires, that would be good. Of course, the only issue is there is a big island in my way, and clearly not the best position to stop. So a definite misplay is on my part, and perhaps it would have been better to just hit the island and then start reversing, because stopping this ship and reversing is not easy. It takes a long time. The battleship here, did a good job, spotted our DD and just decided to stop. So that would have been a great opportunity to take that battleship out. Unfortunately, it was not meant to be. So here I got a little lucky in terms of exposure where I was sitting. So that's a plus. Nevertheless, there are still 2 battleships to the back. So during this time, I felt a little naked and exposed. I mean, the armor is okay, but the issue is, as with all of these cruisers, if it goes through, it's a sit from a battleship. At least one. I mean, they find them wherever they look for them. So you can expect some big hits, and if you're lucky, some smaller ones. But the big ones are always painful. So nothing new there. So at this time, I decided to try to pull away a little bit and maybe reposition myself. There are 2 other battleships below. But I think in the end, the route I took wasn't the best. I noticed that our CV is close by, and I think given where the islands are and how well the red team's battleships were positioned, was not really the best route for me here. So dillying-dallying, staying out of the battle and not being engaged. So not a plus. Both of the battleships still have a lot of health left. So that's a concern. We do have the point lead right now, but it's not a big point lead, and the game still has ways to go. So here I meet my old friend Lion again, and he sends me a welcoming package of AP shells, which take a good chunk out of me. And the firing angle on Bagration is kind of not really the best for kiting. I think in order to kite, you really have to open a lot, which is not the case if you're going forward. But going forward and then being able to turn away is not something as a cruiser you want to be doing when you are in the ship. Now, if you're engaged with a cruiser, that's a different story. You're able to bring all of your guns and get close and then maybe use your torps. But playing it against the battleship and having all of your 3 turrets being able to fire, it's a challenge. So now I think we're down to 3 versus 2. I think what we have going for us is that the red CV died a while back. But given where the red fleet is and given where our CV is, and the point difference is really not that big, it's starting to be very problematic. Now, I'm again turning left and right, and I decide to go back and see what can I do here to assist the CV. But the time is running out. I think we're down to 1 minute, and we do have 80 points but not enough. I'm hoping to distract this battleship and kind of refocus his attention to me. I don't think he sees our CV yet. But right now I'm really thinking it doesn't look good for us, because it's not just the red battleship that's coming, it's the DD as well. So at this point I figured there is really nothing for me to do. I decide to maybe go straight for Alsace, and maybe I'll use my torps if I can get close enough. And then, I'm also kind of keeping an eye out for that DD. I know he's just around there somewhere. And then I see our CV just moving forward, and I'm like, well, what's happening? What's going on? And then I realize he just went for the ram, and that turned the point differential. I take a big hit here again, and we're down to now, like, what is that? 10 seconds, 9 seconds. So the battleship is there, the destroyer is there. I am just, broadsiding here. I'm not sure what I'm doing. I was really hoping to maybe be able to see that DD, and saved by the clock. So in the end, the game ended just in time, and it was a win. First win, I think, in this ship. So played, or was it second? Second, yeah. But it took a long time to get here. Anyway, it was an interesting game. I think the CV really did a great job. I'm not sure. Obviously, he has 2,200 points, but also taking that Alsace, great move. Something that wouldn't even occur to me. So great play. And anyway, it was a good game. Ship, I don't know. Ochakov may be better for me right now. Maybe there are certain things, and maybe my luck will change also, and see how it goes. But nevertheless, good game. Enjoyed it. Hope you liked it as well. Stay healthy, be safe, and take care. That's all from me. Maro out.